I wouldn't say the most I've ever felt of being empty or like I lost it all, but I felt like that was one of the most crucial moments in my life where I broke and I was left with nothing. And every day I was left with the feeling of what I could have done and how I should have done better. Okay, everyone, this is day 3 of recording a podcast episode every single day. And I'm going strong. I feel like this is an amazing experience. I feel like this is something that is worthwhile. I feel powerful right now. I feel like I can do anything. Mainly because I've given myself the necessary things that it takes to thrive and be happy. And some may ask, what is those requirements? The basic needs that we have as human beings, checking on ourselves and checking on each other. The physical, yes, of making sure your body's okay and working out and all of the things to make sure you are feeling good. But the mental and the spiritual, I'm doing the best I can every single day to account for what am I feeling right now and how can I show up for myself in the best way possible. So allowing that to happen gives me room to have more freedom with my creativity. I'm not stressed. I'm not under pressure. I'm not going through these experiences and these challenges with a unhealthy mindset, because choosing to allow these emotions and these temporary feelings to control our life and our moments, we won't be able to do anything. We won't have truly any, I wouldn't say success, but think about it this way. If every single time you had a bad day or you don't feel okay and your emotions may be a little off and you decided to not do something that truly matters in your life, you won't be able to do a lot of things. You'll never catch yourself 100% of the time on a good day. Oh, I feel good and, in good spirit. Sometimes you got to do things when life is difficult. So making sure you're okay and showing up for yourself can allow these difficult times to be easier to go through, right? That's why if I'm good and if I'm okay, if I can take care of myself, then I can go out and, I can help other people. And now I can show up for myself and show up for other people in a better way. That's all I'm saying. So do that check on yourself, okay? Do that check on yourself. It allows you to have more creativity, more reasons to allow just the flow of everything instead of everything being blocked because of temporary experiences. Also, I started taking cold showers. I ain't never felt better, okay? I love me a cold shower, and I just started doing it, and I've already started feeling the benefits. Like, as soon as I get out of the shower, I'm like, girl, yes, I love it. I love the feeling it gives me afterwards. Not during the process. I feel like I'm dying. I'm like, oh, I'm shaking and stuff. Like, oh my goodness. It's so cold. But after I go through that experience, I feel so much better. I implore anybody, you ain't got to take a cold shower every day. I'm saying, just do it and see how it feels. I really like cold showers now. At first, I did it for I wasn't thinking, oh, let me just do a cold shower. The water stopped working right. It was only cold water. And it was like, not all the way cold, but it wasn't warm either. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to do a cold shower. I'm not about to play no games. So I got me in there and I did me a little cold shower. And yeah, that's how it started. But yeah, that's some of the stuff I've been doing recently. I've been getting ready to go. I haven't fully started packing yet, but I'm going to start doing that really soon. I'm just trying to continue to create batch loads of podcast episodes because I know that this is going to take some time for me to get my equipment back. And it also feels really good to just be able to create enough to where I can do more with my life. My creativity is not just my podcast. Like I said before, I'm not just a podcaster. So allowing myself to go out and experience just different things is going to be something that's amazing. I want to start doing more films. I created my first short film, The Energy Price, The Toll of Content Creation, a while ago. And it was an amazing experience, and it truly embodied the feelings that I had when I first started doing content creation. It's became a part of me, and I think it's so beautiful. So I want to have time where I can create films and just do things I haven't done before. This podcast is something that is important, but it takes a lot of my time. So if I do batch loads of podcast episodes and have them ready, it'll help me when I'm traveling to the States again, yes, but it'll also give me room to create content. So if anybody's doing anything in that realm or just in life, give yourself time to do other things. Your life is not just what you're doing right now. It is so much more. It is so much more. There is literally, there's so much that you could do. There's so much that you can do. But anyway, let's get into the podcast, okay? Welcome back to NTheRealestWay podcast by Marqes Smith, where we talk about so many topics in the realest way. On this podcast episode titled, what is it titled again? It is titled, not my brain forgetting the podcast title. That's why I always need to start with the podcast, because the podcast title, the intro, because if I don't, I'ma forget. I got it though, because I started lollygagging. I remember it while I was thinking. It is titled, The Cost of Life. Okay. And when I say the cost of life, I'm not talking about how we got to pay for so much, the physical, right? I'm not talking about the physical, really. I'm not talking about, the money and all that stuff. Yes, it's crazy. Okay. But I'm talking about the consequences of choosing the decisions that we make in life and how they impact our life. The consequences. And when people think about the consequence, they think about the negative all the time. Oh, I did something, and the consequence was this. I had an action and then there was a reaction. But life isn't just bad consequences. There's good consequences. And I was resting in my room, recuperating, okay? And I was thinking about how all throughout my years of being on this earth and living, I've had to pay for a lot because of my decisions and other people's decisions. And I was like, that's a perfect podcast segment to talk about the cost of life and all that we have to give of ourselves, sometimes of our own choice and sometimes not of our own choice. We get robbed of a lot, and sometimes we go bankrupt. Sometimes we feel empty. We feel lost. We feel like what we're doing, there can't possibly be anything good coming afterwards. We look at these dark spaces and these dark moments and we're like, what else could there be besides this? I've talked to people before, and I've been in those moments where I felt that way. I felt that loneliness and emptiness of the weight of the world and how much it costs to just live. The internet and life, we have become so desensitized to all of what's going on around us, so much so that we've lost a lot that truly mattered. The value of a human life has been something that has been dwindled down to nothing. We find people out here advocating for canceling people and the I wouldn't say not important because I feel like everything is important, but the less important things, giving so much energy into them and so much power into them, yet we fail to care about the things that are really, really important. We don't look at the things that are going on right now, and we put our energy and our money and our mind into places that aren't fulfilling to other people and ourselves. So when I was going through my experiences throughout these years and realizing that it costs a lot to just live and just go through the things that we go through on a daily basis, I felt like I couldn't even think about how many times I lost so much. Every day I felt like it was just a losing streak, you know? Like it was okay, well, this is what happened, and here goes another thing that happened, and then here goes another thing. And it's like, well, damn, my account is in the negatives. Okay. I ain't got no money in my wallet. What is going on? Okay. Paint that visually of what we're going through. And these moments are difficult sometimes. Just like in real life, we go through these experiences, and when we can't get the resources that we need any other way, we have to go through these choices a different way. And I'm not saying every way that we go through them is healthy, because it's not. Sometimes when we're bankrupt emotionally and we're not getting the necessary things that we just need as human beings, we choose darker places to go. Those places could be hurting other people. It could be hurting ourselves. And I just wanted to just let myself know and let other people know that it's not fun to be lost, to feel empty, to not have anything. But it's worse to allow that to take over you and force you to go on a path that is hurting yourself and other people. There's so many things that a lot of people, we just don't think that we could have access to. So we go to the tools and the easiest solution. People are struggling in places where it's hard. We sometimes choose bad decisions that are going to affect us for the rest of our life, because we're acting on temporary emotions. And that's why in the beginning, I highlighted the importance of understanding yourself and how you're feeling right now, checking on yourself. How much has been taken from me today, right? How much of this toll of life has affected me? And I need to be cautious of how much energy I have left, so that when somebody shows up in my life, I have control over how I react. It's not just they have power over me, and now I'm at their beck and call. If they want me to react in a negative way, I'm going to react in a negative way. It's their decision. And there's been moments when I didn't check on myself and I would just go to work. I remember even here, when I first got here, I was doing just my military job, and I didn't even know how empty I was and how much I've given. That when people wanted to, and people, I promise you, everybody who is gifted and who can see other people and what they're experiencing doesn't have good intentions, right? People who have gifts, they're not always good people. And I say good people with quotations, good people. So understand that a lot of people are going to try to take advantage of you. They're going to see you as a person who is going through something, and what can I get from this person, and how can I control them? And there were moments when I allowed people to, it was so easy to. It was so easy to. So that's why it's analyze yourself and How much do I have left inside of me right now? And when I say how much do I have left inside of me, understand that you're limitless, okay? But we go through a lot on a daily basis. We can't show up 100% all the time. We just can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. So we rely on our self-awareness and the people we care about to check on us and help us. We can't do it by ourselves. Sometimes I gotta ask you, hey, can I borrow some change from you? You know, I'm going through a little rough patch. I got you whenever you need it, and I got it. You know, it's mutually beneficial. But we find ourselves dealing with people who they don't care about the things that we're going through. Just how can we show up for them? It's about them. And I was that person before. And if you would have told me the thing I'm telling you right now about how selfish I used to be, I would have thought you were crazy. Me, selfish, after all I did. And I did a lot for people. I truly did. You know, everything I did wasn't out of selfish intentions. But when you're being told that the best route to the success and feeling whole again is this path, sometimes you believe it and you get lost. That's why it's important to analyze yourself and understand what you're going through. How am I feeling and how am I showing up for the world? And it's like, Smith, you're saying the same things over and over on every podcast episode. You're saying the same thing, but am I? Am I really? I'm very intentional with what I say. And sometimes I do repeat a lot of the things that I say because they apply to a lot of life. Not even my podcast, just life, because my podcast is life. It's life. The decisions that we make on a daily basis, they matter. They really matter. I've never felt so emotionally aware yet drained at the same time. You know? And I'm happy that on this path, on this road that we choose in life, we're going to deal with a lot of things that are taken from us. But we got to realize the things that we're getting back in return, the lessons that we're getting. Okay, so this thing that happened to me and the way I went about it this way isn't the way I should go about it. And it's actually not healthy for me. And these people or this thing or these experiences, these environments, this season wasn't the best of myself. And I could learn a lot from it. I can learn from these people. It's not just you've taken from me and I just want nothing else to do with you. It's you've taken from me. I understand that you're a person who is making an effort to just live, and I can't hold you for the fact that you're just going through life just like me, but I can also ask you to stay away from me. But there's a lesson that you can learn from these experiences. People can never allow you, they can never, how do I say this? Nobody can do anything that you're not allowing them to do. Okay? If people are taking from you, it's because you're allowing them to take from you. Yet it is a confusing balance of trying to understand how much you give to other people and how much you refuse to give away. It is something that I'm going through on a daily basis. How much am I giving and how much am I taking back? The self-reflection of it all. The truth of it all. I've had to deal, okay, with the consequences before. There were moments when I thought that my whole world would shatter. Even here in South Korea, I made a decision with a group of people before, and it was a crazy, crazy experience. I was left feeling, I wouldn't say the most I've ever felt of being empty or like I lost it all, but I felt like that was one of the most crucial moments in my life where I broke and I was left with nothing. And every day I was left with the feeling of what I could have done and how I should have done better. But there's beauty in that pain. And I'm not going to allow moments to control. And I just learn from them. That's just a simple fact. Instead of going around the bush and saying the same thing over and over, just the truth of it all. I'm just going to do better. I'm going to keep learning. I'm not going to allow these moments that were in the past and these experiences, oh, it took so much from me, but look what you got back in return. Now I know that these certain people, I can't be around them like that. I can't go out with you to have fun no more. I can't do it. We on the same wavelength. We can't even hang out like that. Right? And I just want that to be something that is known. You don't have to accept the choices that are right in front of you, okay? Sometimes you can say, hey, I don't want anything that's right here, right now. And truly be intentional with the decisions that you are making. Now I want to go to the next part of you've been through these moments. You had the good consequences, the bad consequences. You've dealt with the toll of life and the cost of life. And you've been on your journey and you've lost a lot. You gained some too. You lost a lot. You gained some more. And it's just this constant flow of, okay, I'm up and I'm down. I'm up and I'm down. I'm up and I'm down. But more than like recently, it was, when am I going to hit the jackpot? And I don't mean like, oh, when is it the moment when I'm going to just fully be perfect and healed? I'm saying, when is it going to be that moment to where I'm not going to allow life to just take from me and, oh, I'm beaten down and I'm beaten down and there's nothing left for me to do. There's always ways to pick yourself back up and find a solution to life. I want to be transparent too. I think this podcast is sometimes so hard for me because I lack the accountability in the role that I need to have in this. I look at people who are doing the same things that I'm doing, and they have podcast episodes and titles of podcast episodes months and weeks down already ready. Yet when I do these podcast episodes, I find myself thinking about the next podcast episode the same day or a day before, trying to gather up the information that I need. And some days it's, oh, okay, I just got it, but it went perfectly. But now it's these days where I have so much to say, yet I can't articulate it and I can't put it together as best as I can because I didn't allow myself to go through it the right way. The cost, okay? This is the price, the consequence of not allowing yourself to be as intentional as possible. I understand every podcast episode ain't going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect every time. It's never going to be perfect. But that last podcast episode I did, I barely stuttered if I stuttered at all. This podcast episode, I done stuttered like 20 times. And it's like, it's okay. You're going to get the version of me that I am right now. And I expect the same from you. Show up as who you are. Don't force yourself to stay in that place, and don't stay in that place, but allow yourself to fully be in the moment of who you are. I either could have gave up on this podcast, the entirety of it. Oh, it's too tough. And I got to create I have to create like 15 podcast episodes, or 10 is even pushing it. That's even like, you know what I'm saying? But it's every single day for the next 2 weeks so that I can have room to be as authentic as possible and continue to show up as I am. And I've already stated that I'm going to post a podcast every week. Every week I'm posting a podcast. And I'm going to try my best not to lose that. But there were moments when I was like, okay, it wasn't like a big question, but it was something that I had to consider too. Just the level of how much time and energy these things take. There's a cost and there's a consequence for every action that you take. I look at my life in awe now instead of, oh my goodness, Smith, with that negative mindset. I look at myself in all that I've accomplished, all that I've been through. And before I end this podcast episode, I do want to talk about how I'm never going to allow life to decide for me what I'm going to do. I'm not going to allow the cost to make me afraid of making a decision. Sometimes the biggest price could reap the most benefits, the best benefits, but you got to be willing to go out there and pursue it. You got to be willing to go out there and make a sacrifice. I say I want to record this many podcast episodes before all my equipment is being shipped back to the States. And that's going to take a lot of energy and a lot of time. And I'm realizing that it's going to take a lot more than it has before, because this isn't going to cut it anymore. And I don't like things to be unstructured. I'm not saying this podcast episode was unstructured, but it could have been so much better if I gave it time to process instead of thinking about the podcast episode the same day, a couple minutes before, and then trying to find conversation topics to talk about. That's crazy. And it's not going to be my entire life. It's not going to be this. I want this to be authentic. I really do. And I've realized that this has shown up in my life more than ever. And it's been going on forever. Okay? I've been doing this. I've been waiting the last minute to, especially things that I care about. I do it all the time. I don't know. I don't know. Crazy how the energy just changed. In the beginning, I was like, oh my goodness, this is my third day making a podcast episode. And I don't know. I want to be transparent though. I want to be honest. I want to be the best version of myself, but also I want to allow my mistakes to be mistakes. And I want this to I just want this to be something that I can truly look back on and be like, I did that. I did that. So the conclusion is life is going to be challenging and you're going to lose a lot along the way, but you'll gain so much in return if you're looking for opportunities to receive it. If you're looking for reasons to make living worth living. If you look for the bad, you're going to find the bad. You will. And it will continue to take from you. Choose to look for the good. And you never know, one day you'll hit the jackpot. Probably numerous times in life of beautiful experiences and moments that are truly, you couldn't even try to replace them. I don't know about this one, right? I'm always torn between allowing my authentic moments to be seen by the world, or is it just something that isn't good enough to be posted? Is it something that people would listen to and watch? I don't know. But I do know that this is going to be challenging, especially if I don't give myself time to deal with the choices and the decisions that I need to make. There's always going to be a consequence. There's always going to be a reaction to your action. Always. No matter how small it is, there's always going to be a reaction to your action. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I'm going to continue. Day 3. This is day 3 of this podcast batch of recordings, and I'm going to continue to do the best I can. I'm going to continue to become better, learn from myself and my mistakes, and that's all I can do. And like I say at the end of every podcast episode, I give thanks to the utmost, to the highest power, God. I'm truly, truly thankful for my friends and my family. This is In the Realest Way podcast. Out.